Welcome to It's All About the Questions, where learning to ask the right questions can help you achieve lifelong success. Now, here to help you ask all the right questions is award-winning author, international speaker, and business strategist, Laura Stewart.
Good morning, afternoon, and evening, everyone, and welcome to the show this week. As always, my favorite time of the week is the time that I get to spend with all of you here on the show, getting to bring you some amazing guests, and also to spend time with you live on Facebook, or if you're listening on the podcast anywhere podcasts are listened to. Your favorite platforms. We are now also live on Amazon Music, in addition to iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Podchaser, Podcasts. Pretty much any platform that you can listen to a podcast on, you can find the show. And thank you to all my fans in India and England and Canada and the US for getting us into the top 200 podcasts and into the top all around in iTunes for business podcasts in the top 1,000. So thank you so much. We know that every day the algorithms change, so you don't know what's going to make you hit. But what matters to me most is not the numbers. What matters to me most is what you take away from the show, how it shifts your thinking, how it changes your life and your business for the better. And as a result of that, I get to have some amazing guests on my show. And my guest today is somebody that I met through, I just love her, Marcella Allison, the founder of Titanides, who I met through another guest, Brian Kurtz, who wrote the book Over Deliver. And I never really thought about copywriting as much as I have begun to now because of all these other people that I've begun to meet. I know that copywriting is important, but I never really thought about it to the levels that I'm thinking now. And you see this person on the other side of the screen? This is Carline Anglade-Cole. She wrote, oh my God, I love this book, Carline. My Life as a 50-plus-year-old white male. Now, looking at Carline, she is not a white male, and she's not a male. And, I don't even know if you're 50 plus, but
I am 50 plus.
The subtitle to the book is How a Mixed Race Woman Stumbled into Direct Response Copywriting and Succeeded. I love this book, Carline. I mean, you've been in like the copywriters' halls of fame. You've done some amazing direct response marketing pieces, the stuff that most of us just kind of look at and go, oh, whatever. But it's been the backbone to marketing in the world for as long as we can remember. And you've been on the front lines for a really long time pretending you are a 50-year-old white male. Mm-hmm. I have enough trouble writing books in my own voice. I can't even imagine writing copy that, number one, you're being paid to write, to sell things to a specific subset of the world. Mm-hmm. How the heck did you get into this? And what's that like, pretending you're somebody else?
Well, as the book title says, how I stumbled my way into this. And it really was a stumbling because I was at the time a stay-at-home mom. I had a 2.5-year-old and a 1-year-old, 2 girls. And my husband was a firefighter at the time. And so I was looking for a job that could help to compensate for the income a little bit so that I could work a couple of days a week. The days that he was off on shift work, I could in turn work. And so we could bring some money home. And I just found there was an ad in the paper at the time that said customer service, and it had flexible hours. And I needed flexible hours because my husband's shift changes every week. So I needed something to work with that. And it was for a company called Phillips Publishing. They were an entrepreneurial investment newsletter company. And that was my entry into direct response writing because I had no idea what that was about. How you can use, you can mail to people and send them, offers, and then they will in turn, send you money. And, that was direct mail. That was direct response. And so I learned that, and I had probably one of the best jobs that I didn't realize at the time, but in my career, I realized I actually had one of the best jobs ever, and that was in customer service. It was an $8 an hour job where I was talking to the customer. I was listening to the customer and trying to take care of their needs and understanding who we were marketing to. So that was like the best job because now I understood who these people were, who these 50-plus-year-old white males were. That became my whole mantra for life for the next 30 years of my career. And so from Phillips, which, like I said, was a very entrepreneurial company, and it's sort of, if you had an idea, they would take, do it, and I love that. So I went and I moved from the customer service department into the accounting department. And another great move. I had no knowledge of accounting. I mean, all the jobs I've had, I had to kind of fake my way into the job and then make it work once I got in there. So I took that accounting job because it paid an extra $1.50 an hour or more, and it still had flexible schedule. So That's what I was looking for. But in accounting, as you learn, if you're in a business, nothing gets done unless it goes through accounting. Right. Because the money's got to come through. And I had a job at the time where I had to stay late to be able to count all the money. Well, I read about the company growing and trying to expand into the health field. And I thought, I want to do that. I want to get into the health. They had positions opening, all kinds of entry level to high end level jobs. And I'm like, I want to get into this. I don't want to stay in accounting anymore. I want to get into this. Well, nobody was giving me an interview. But like I said, my job in accounting was every Friday I had to stay as late as was necessary to pull together all the financial numbers for the week and put them in this thing called a green sheet. It was a paper called the green sheet. And it was green. It was green. And so on the green sheet, all the money for the week was there, and all of the upper, senior management people were waiting on these numbers every Friday to see how the company did for the week. And it was my job, to go and literally hand the green sheet to the senior vice president at the time, Bob King was his name, to the president of the company, Tom Phillips, and other senior VPs. But Bob was the one who was going to be heading this whole new health division. And so I'm like trying to get an appointment to meet with Bob, whatever, or to get into, somebody meet with me for a job, but nobody was getting back to me. So I said one Friday, I'm like, okay, this is it. I'm taking matters in my own hands here. And so I would normally walk in and hand the report to everybody, and they would just say, thank you, Carline. I'll go have a nice weekend, and I would leave. Well, I got to Bob King's desk, and it was like I had this sheet, like a green sheet, and I would hand it to him, and I just kept it about a few inches away from his wrist. So instead of him looking down like he normally does, say, thank you, Carline, and then leave, I stood right there holding it. And he had to look up.
He had to acknowledge you.
He had to acknowledge me. And when he looked up, his hand was there, but he's a couple inches apart. I said, oh, no, you're not getting this until I get an interview. I want to get into this health group, the health department. I need an interview with this job. And he just looked at me, and Bob King was a very stoic face. I mean, you can never read his expressions. Wonderful, brilliant man. But again, you would not know what's going on, right? So I'm standing there holding this green sheet away from him. And I'm like, you can't have this until I have an interview. And he just looks at me, and it felt like hours that he was just piercing through me. And I just stood there, and I'm like, literally, I feel my hands kind of shaking, and I'm holding it. And then he just looks down, and then he looks up at me, and then he looks down and pulls out his calendar and says, okay, how about next Friday at 5:00? And all I could do was I just dropped the green. She goes, okay, thank you. Have a nice weekend. And I just took off. Because I'm like, I don't want him to change his mind. I want to change his mind. And so that was my entry into the health group, which ended up growing and launching a revolution in the alternative health field. It was just amazing. And I got to get in there from the groundwork. And I got to work with amazing copywriters like Clayton Makepeace, who was my mentor. He was the best copywriter for the company, and they were using him to write these promotions, and they were doing very well. So I was reading what he was doing, and I got to meet him, and he was such a wonderful person. He just passed away this year, but was such a generous and just such a warm, kind person. I mean, he was the kind of person the guy is like a multimillionaire, but he's the kind of person that if he's talking to you, you are the only person that is important at that moment. He will make you feel special no matter what you are, what you do, who you are. It doesn't matter. So I just love that about him. And so we just got to be friends. from just that, and then I just would imitate his writing. And as I grew in the company, I became a marketing manager, marketing director. But yet I was always like imitating what he did until I got to the point where I wanted to go off on my own and be a copywriter. And he, again, helped me all the way through. He's like, I can't tell you to leave my most important client, but when you do, give me a call and, we'll talk. And he helped me get started as far as, just introducing me to some people and, give me some work on the side to do. I was kind of his little ghostwriter at a time, to do stuff,
Right.
but I was learning like crazy. And again, this is an industry where nobody knows. You don't go to college to get a degree in direct response marketing, at least not back in the day. There was no such thing available. So you had to get into this industry by kind of either stumbling into it, like I did, or knowing somebody who knew somebody who could get you into it. And I just think that's horrible because this is an amazing industry that has the upside for what so many people want. I mean, they want flexible schedule. They want decent income. They want creativity. They want some fun. They going to choose their clients. I mean, that's all available in this industry. Whereas most people, especially people, Black, brown, females, just don't know about because it has been a kind of old boy, white male society for many, many decades. So that's a short answer of how I got it.
It's the short answer. Okay.
Short answer. Yes. I can go on, but I won't.
When I was reading your book, what I found really fascinating was because you and I had spoken first before I had read your book, and you had done some stuff with Marcella and everything. And I loved how it was in your voice. Like I was reading it and I was hearing you because I've heard your voice read it to me. What intrigued me, though, was this whole idea of how you became your own woman as a result of pretending to be something completely different. And I need to ask you some questions around that because many of my listeners are entrepreneurs or want to be entrepreneurs. They're looking to shift their lives. They're looking to increase their belief in themselves. And everybody has an idea as to how to strengthen belief in yourself. Throughout the book, what really got to me was that your belief in yourself came from some deep core place that was influenced by a need to take care of your family, right? To be able to do what you needed to do, but yet by setting boundaries that, okay, family, this is what we need to do. That's not something most women or even men are willing to declare out loud, yet you were. You declared to your family, this is when I need to work, when you went freelance. This is after you left corporate life, which is a whole story unto itself, which is really a whole story. But can you expand upon how you got the strength to say, this is what I need in order to do what I need to help others?
Well, I think if you look in my book, I talk about my early childhood, like even my pre-existence, where I felt like, I almost wasn't here, because my mom, the situation of my birth, I'm like, I could have not been here. And I even said, if I wasn't here, you'd be reading a bunch of blank pages right now because that's it. So I've had this feeling or this need to feel like I have to justify my existence. So I think that started off at a very young age. And I didn't realize that until I was much older. But I just felt like, if you're going to be here, then do something about it. And I think that was just what was added to that was when I strengthened my faith. I mean, when I was in my 20s, I studied the Bible and I was Jehovah's Witnesses. And it gave me a direction that has been my core for my entire life. And what that direction was to say, hey, this is temporary. All of the stuff that you're going through right now, all of the junk you're feeling, all of the fear that you're having, this is not it. This is not the real life here. This is not the stuff for you to get all bogged down about, and any mistake that you make, for the most part, any mistake you make, you can fix it. It can, or is it really a mistake?
Oh, that's an interesting. Oh, I like that.
I love your question. I'm reading your book now.
Okay. Well, thanks. Is it really a mistake? Oh my God, that is just so brilliant.
It's just because you don't know how your life is going to unfold. And so you try to go one direction, but every time you make a decision, you are moving and maneuvering your life. And so to say, oh no, I shouldn't have done that. Well, if you hadn't done it, you kind of wouldn't be where you are now, at some point, because that's all of that leads to the other.
Good
and
point.
So I feel that, so I feel like that's why it's hard for people to say to me, what do you regret the most in life? It's like, I don't regret anything. It doesn't mean I had a perfect life. I'm like, I had a lot of stuff I didn't like, but when I look back on it, I'm like, man, I sure learned a lot from that mess, or boy, I won't do that again. Or
we all have a few of those.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm saying, so is it really a mistake? So I think that and my husband also has been great as far as just helping keep me centered, because I call him my anchor, because I know he's a rock, and I grab onto him and then I just go crazy. But I know I'm still anchored, right? I'm still going to come back in here. So I just think it's just a matter of deciding, in essence, like, okay, what do you really want? That was one of your questions in your book. It's like, are you asking the right questions? What do you really want? Like, do you want to get married? Do you want to have children? Is that because you feel that's going to make you successful, or is that really what you want? Right. I knew I wanted to be married. I knew I wanted to have kids. I knew I wanted to have them when I was young, as opposed to being older. I knew that. That's why I made the decisions I did, when I did them. And I wanted to grow up with my kids. I wanted to have my childhood with my kids, the kind of childhood that I wanted to have that I couldn't have. So I wanted to relive my childhood, in essence, through my children and have the fun. I want to go to Disney World, So I did those things that I really wanted to do, as a child. And we weren't able to do so. So I think it's just almost like, make yourself small enough so that you can really be big, in the sense that you don't, it's like, come on. I mean, we're just little peons on the earth. Okay. And so realizing that is very important. So the mistake that you're going to make is not going to be really earth changing. So you can go ahead and make those mistakes and work through them. But realize when you do that, when you make yourself small enough, it allows you to really grow and realize you can take chances. You can take the risk. You can just go for it and not be afraid. I think women are just so afraid to do things like, oh, it's going to be the wrong decision, or they're willing to help their husband or their children or their friends to do things, encourage them, but yet won't do it themselves. So it's almost like, just try. Just try it. So you want to launch your business and you don't know if it's going to work. Well, then try it. If it doesn't work, guess what? It might open up a whole different opportunity for you that you didn't think about before. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. I didn't think about that. I didn't see that. But if you don't try it, you don't go. I heard a great quote from a guy named Matt Gill the other day. He said, version 1 is better than version none. So, and I was like, love it.
I've never heard it put that way before.
I had not either. He was just so cool about it. And I'm like, that's it. So it's like, try it. And it's okay. Failure is not failure. Failure is, this did not work the way I thought it was going to be. So try it again, or do it differently, or let's see what that door leads you to. So I think for me, I definitely, my priorities with my family definitely is very important to me. And then realize, everything's centered around my faith. That is extremely important to me, because I feel like that helps me to give to people like I should. I worship a God who is a God of love. Therefore, I should also be that kind of person. I should represent my God at all times, so that I'm not going to do things or say things to hurt you intentionally, because that's not who my God is. That's not who I want to be. So that has definitely been a very important part of my life. And then I just try to say, I try to help people when I can. And when I got to get busy and work, I shut you down. Like right now, there's a sign on my door that says, do not enter, period, the end. Don't come in here. Nobody. I don't care who you are until I'm finished. Then I take the sign down and I'm available. So we have to kind of guard the time, your money time, so that you can make your money and then you can go play and have fun with the money you made.
In your book, you talk quite a bit about the whole guarding your money time. And I know that I'm very glad that my show is before 1 o'clock, because you said by 1 o'clock in the afternoon, you're just done.
I'm done. Well, I've been up since 5. So
Right.
since 5, so, yeah.
Which is not who I am. But although lately everything seems to be shifting since the menopause shift.
I hear you.
The whole idea of guarding your money time is something that a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with, especially a lot of women entrepreneurs. They struggle with this idea that their time is as worthwhile as anybody else's time that's around them. Women have been raised to nurture, to grow other people. And what I love in your book is how you talk about that, and it's sort of subtle woven throughout it, that in order to help others, you need to help yourself.
Put the oxygen mask on first.
Right. In order to do the work you do, you need to really guard your time. How did you figure out what were the times you needed to guard it and when it's okay to break that?
Well, the one thing I figured out very quickly was when I left corporate America, one reason I left was because I was spending so much time at work, and so my husband was like, well, you're never home. And then my boss is like, but you're never at work. I'm going, but where am I then? Because everybody wanted more of me. And I realized I would spend, 8 to 10 hours at work and still not get things done. When I became a freelancer, all of a sudden I realized, hey, I could get stuff done in about 3 hours that it was taking me all day to get done in a corporate environment, because I didn't have an office. People were stopping by to say hi. I didn't have to go into the water cooler and hang out and chit chat a little bit. I didn't take long lunches, hour-long lunches or whatever. I didn't have the interruptions that I normally was so used to. So really, I was only getting about 3 hours of work done in corporate world. I didn't have to sit through those stupid meetings that went on and on and on, people posturing themselves for their promotions and all that. And it's like, really, why are we meeting for this? We could have had a phone call and taken care of this. So when I realized all those things were taken away, that I had about 3 hours, 3 hours in a day, I could get my work done. And then the rest of the time I could play. I don't have to stay at my desk if I don't want to. I could do whatever I want. So when I realized that, when I first became a freelancer, I said, okay, I just need 3 hours a day to work and I can get my stuff done. So now my question was, well, what are those 3 hours? When is it? And I am a morning person. I have always been a morning person. And so to me, if it's 3 o'clock in the morning, people say, oh, I got up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I couldn't go back to sleep. My attitude is, well, then stay up, get to work. You're up.
I sit there and I fight it. I fight it.
It's like I should be asleep. Don't fight it. Just get up and do something. And either what's going to happen is you're going to be very productive or you'll get sleepy. And then you go, so either one, but at least you're doing something. So with me, I don't need an alarm clock to wake me up at 5 a.m. It doesn't matter. I'm automatically up, and I can get up at 4 a.m. Sometimes this is early, but generally speaking, I am up at 5 a.m. And I'm like, when I'm up, I'm not groggy. I am awake. Okay. And so then I include immediately, I exercise for an hour. That's my personal time. That's like, don't mess with me. This is to get my brain moving. This is to get the body, going. This is to get everything in place. So I usually work out for about an hour. But at that time, at 5 o'clock in the morning, I'm up. I've checked emails. I have clients out of the international clients, so it's much later for them. So I'm responding to their emails. I've gone downstairs. By the time I get down there, I've done, I do things for me spiritually. I do my daily text. I read just to kind of center me, like a positive thought for the day that I can focus on the whole day, just very positive. And I make that like my theme for the day. And then by the time I'm downstairs, I've already checked emails. I've already responded. I've done my daily texts. I've brushed my teeth. I put my workout clothes on, and I'm downstairs. I make my nasty drink. Where is my drink? I finished it. Oh no, I finished this. I have water. I have this thing filled with a green drink every day. As I finished this, I'm in the water mode now, and then I'm gone. So I'm gonna go as soon as the sun comes up. Either I'm gonna go outside and run or walk, or I'll do a workout video at home. My cousin is like my cousin Sandy is like my partner. I know I can count on her. She can count on me. We get that hour done. But in that morning, even when I'm walking or running, I'm talking about the day. I'm talking about what's going on, what I have to do. So I'm already working. Sandy and I will bounce ideas off each other. Like, hey, I'm thinking about this headline. What do you think? How's that sound to you? And she's like, I don't like it. Oh, I love it. Whatever. We're working.
I love in your book where you talked about this whole section. I mean, you're describing it and it's exactly as you said. So if you're listening and you need more of it, you really need to get a copy of the book. My Life as a 50-Year-Old White Male. I'm going to get a physical copy of it too. I just have the ebook because I needed it fast in order to read it. But you did something about your writing that I always find intriguing, because I'm struggling right now to write my next book that I've been talking about for a while now. And I have a couple of articles that were due, and one of them I wrote 12 times.
Oh my goodness.
Drove me nuts. And I finally sent it to another friend, and she said, well, I know what it was like after you interviewed the person for the article, and there's no heart in here. And I realized, because I was so worried about representing this person who blew me away on the interview, that I almost like shut myself off because I was so afraid of not doing it. And finally, the 12th iteration, all good. We're good now. But you talked about one of your processes for writing is you leave yourself a cliffhanger at the end of your workday. You don't finish the thought. Now, most of us out there will sit there and go, I need to finish this thought. Like, I need to finish this sentence when I'm reading a book, or finish the paragraph. I can't leave it mid-sentence. Why? I mean, I could go on, but why?
Yeah.
Why? It was brilliant. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. Why? Because it works. That's why. I was reading a book years ago about the brain, and I have it somewhere in my library. I forgot the name of it, but it's about the brain and how the brain needs closure. And the brain will seek out to create closure however it possibly can. And so as a direct response copywriter, my job is to jolt the brain. I don't ever want to write copy that you're going to read it and you're going to read it like this to the point where you're falling asleep reading it. My job as a copywriter is to do this. It's like, have you reading? Go, what? No, what? I want to keep your attention the whole time. So I thought, okay, well, if that's what I have to do, I can do it for myself. So if I'm writing something, if I come to a place where I'm like, okay, great, I can stop here. This is perfect. I've ended it. Well, now tomorrow I have to get excited and start something else. And so that's hard for me. I'm like, I got nothing else right now. But if I start writing and then I go, stop it right here. Like, that's it. This is the problem. How are you going to solve this? Figure it out tomorrow. And then leave it there. Well, then it's in my brain all night long. It's like, because the brain is looking for closure. How do we close this? And I would say, hey, I need an idea here. I need to finish this part right here. Tomorrow, I got to come and start at this point, and I will end it going, need a great idea, need a great sidebar, I'll tell myself what I need in my copy, right?
Okay.
And leave it open-ended, because now what I'm doing is I'm allowing my subconscious to kick in. That's where the creativity is going to come in. So I'll say, and I'll go before I go to sleep at night, or I'll take a nap. Sometimes I'm stuck. I'll take a nap during the daytime. I'll go, I need a headline idea for this section, or I need whatever. I'll tell myself what I need, and then I'll just go to sleep. So when you shut down the conscious, now let the subconscious come in, man, stuff happens. I'm telling you, I have gotten up in the middle of the night going, oh, there it is. And I keep a pen, paper, everything. I have all that next to my desk. I'm like, there it is. I got my husband even bought me a little miniature light because I was turning on the light and he was like, too light. So now I got a little miniature light. I can turn it. It goes right to my copy. And I'll just, while I'm half asleep even, I will literally just scribble whatever the idea that comes up. Because if you think you're going to remember it the next day, you will not. You will not. It is because that was just subconscious working. When you're up, the subconscious is gone. It's asleep. So it's not going to help you. So any idea you get in the middle of the night or whatever, anytime in the shower, I have burned so many meals because I was working and I've said, you know what, I'm kind of stuck here. I need to do something different. And I leave it in the thought. I go upstairs, I'm making dinner, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, that's it. And I just take off back and I'm going back. And I'm like, what's burning? Where's the fire?
I did that the other day.
So I just go, okay, I'm ordering Chinese food, everybody. That's it. We're good. I got an idea. So leaving things unfinished can actually help you become more productive. If you know kind of how to do it. So just kind of leave it mid-thought. And when you come back to work the next morning, it's almost like when we left, well, how do they say with the movies, when we last left off?
Oh, yes.
Jill was about to jump off the cliff. Did she do it? So I'm like,
who shot JR?
Who shot JR? Right, exactly.
Right. I'm showing my age.
I got you there. So I'm going. And so that kind of helps me just get in the morning and go, oh, okay, now let's go ahead and pick it up and go with it. I might change it, but it doesn't matter. It stops me from having to say, what do I do now? And when I do now, it may take me a half an hour to figure out what to do next. And I'll play around and I'll just kind of get distracted. And now I'm like, no, you got to finish this. So that was a trick I learned, and I still do it. It's a great one. I highly encourage you, try it and allow your subconscious to work for you when you're sleeping.
You had another trick in the book that I thought was really interesting. You have a number of people that want to write books, or just you have to do work of any kind, and they stare at that blank email, they stare at the blank page. And I mean, you write for a living and you get paid really well to do what you do. You can't just leave a blank page for a long time. Those who want to write a book and have never written one, typically they don't have a deadline or something like that. But that can be involved with writing a quote or a proposal to give somebody. I mean, we all hit that blank page syndrome of I don't know what the next thing is I'm supposed to do. I don't know how to start something. And I thought that what you talked about in your book, and I keep looking over here because I've got the Kindle version up over here. The idea that getting started for many people is a difficult task. You shared in here how you cure your blank page syndrome when you're staring at it. Do you know what I'm referencing?
I do. Absolutely.
Okay.
I still do it today.
Let's talk about that, because I think it is totally, uniquely, amazingly kick-A brilliant.
Okay. Well, of course, as a writer, you're looking at a blank page, and that's almost like death. What is it? It's like you stare long enough until drops of blood start falling off of you. That's how it feels. So it's like, okay, get rid of the blank page blues by, filling up the page very quickly. Now, as a direct response copywriter, there are elements in every sales letter that I write. It's consistent. I need a headline. I need to have a bio of the guru. I need to have an order form. I need to have a guarantee. So these are all elements that are very static when it comes to a sales letter. How you put it all together, that's the creativity that comes in, but you have to have those things in there. So what I will do is I will immediately, if I'm starting a new project, I open up the Word document, and the first thing I will type up, big freaking headline goes here. And all like impact font, 36 font, whatever.
I'm sorry, big freaking headline goes here.
Yeah, that's it. I don't know what it is yet, but I know I'm going to have a great headline right there, And then I go and I'm like, okay, well, I know I'm going to need to have a doctor's bio. So if I've worked with the doctor before, I'll go to an old document and cut and paste his bio and put it on there.
Okay.
If I haven't worked with the doctor before, I'll cut and paste somebody else's bio and put it on there. I'm going to change all that later, but at least I'm putting the elements in there that I need. I know I'm going to need to have an order form. So I go and I get the client's kind of standard order form, and I'll change it later, but drop it in there. And so I'm dropping in all of the key pieces that I'm going to need to have anyway. So by the time I've done this little practice, I probably got about 6 pages of copy, and I haven't written one word yet. I have not written one single word, but I'm not looking at a blank page, and I'm starting to form my sales letter, even though I have no idea what I'm going to write about yet. And so then I have that document's open. And so now if I'm writing about a book, for example, as I'm reading the book, anything that's like an aha moment for me, like, oh, I didn't know that. I just type it up. I put it in a document. I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. I'll fix it later. But this, drop this in, drop this in. I'm just dropping stuff in there. Or I'm reading about something. If it's an ingredient in a supplement, I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool. What are the ingredients? There's 6 ingredients in here. Well, let's drop in numbers. Number 1, it's this. Number 2 is this. I'll add more copy later, but I know I got to talk about these ingredients. So I'm building my copy. I don't like outlines. I told you I hate outlines. So in essence, I'm kind of creating my version of an outline.
Like a framework.
Yeah, I'm creating more of a framework, right? Or I love, by the time I do it, I am dumping so much stuff into this file, and I'm going somewhere, but I've got like 50 pages by now, honestly. I'm like somewhere in all of this research that I have done, learning about the product, putting information in there, somewhere in this 50 plus something pages is my sales letter. It's there. And so now I take the approach of what is it Michelangelo who said that when he starts with a piece of marble.
Oh, right.
And he just, chisels out the stuff he doesn't want. And then there's the work of art hiding in there.
It was always in there.
It was always there.
Yeah.
Right. So I feel like if I've done my research, which is very important in my line of work, you have to become an expert in the product in a short period of time. So you have to research it. You have to read about it. You have to understand it. You have to how is this going to make my 50 plus year old white male feel better? What is he waking up worried about? And how can I address that with him immediately so we can connect and talk about next stuff? So all that is my research. And I'm going, okay, this is some good stuff. This is some good stuff. Let's put it in this document, put it in the document. So I have this whole document in there. And now I'm like, there's my research right here. So then I start my editing when I'm going, all right, well, not really editing, more like writing, then I'm going to just kind of piece things together and say, well, I like this I wrote over here. Let me move it over here. And let me kind of fine tune it a little bit. Or, oh, I thought that was my lead, but that's really just a sidebar. Let me take that off and move it over here and try. This is the lead. So I'm just playing around with puzzle pieces. It's so much fun. All right, so I'm doing this and I'm pulling it together. And like I said, you start to see it. It's like, oh, okay, there it is. This is my letter. Oops, this is slowing down my letter copy. Take it out, make it a sidebar. Keep it going. Oh, this is kind of feeling really kind of sluggish here. Let's turn them into bullets. Boom, 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 boom.
You've created an energy that you didn't have when you had a blank page.
Yes.
And you made it achievable in a much quicker time period than just that blank page. So if somebody's writing a pitch to a show that they want to be on, they could write, my subject line has to make them want to open the email. And they can just write that as the subject. And then they could write, I need to tell them about me and 2 sentences. And they could just write those kind of things out there. Or
so the subject line would be, wow me now. Okay.
Wow me now.
Wow me. How are you going to wow me? What are you going to say is going to wow me? That's your subject line. And then it's sort of, he said, who are you? Why do I care? So what? Remember my chapter in my book of my kids?
Oh, I love that chapter.
How my 4 children taught me how to write copy. My number 1 daughter, attitude galore. So what? So what? So what? Teenager. I'm like, you know what? Your audience is just the same way. So what? Why are you bothering them today? Why do you want your reader to read what you have to say? Why is it meaningful? So what are you saying to him or her that is going to make them stop and do and listen to you and buy your product? So what attitude is huge. So you go, you're doing that stuff. You're like, okay, so who are you? Why do I care? And who says? I mean, you just got to you have to kind of have that kind of attitude, because you're, as a direct response copywriter, I don't have the luxury of going to every single one of my prospects to explain what I meant to say here. I don't have that luxury. So if I don't say it, if I don't address any kind of potential obstacles that I see that they may bring up, if I don't think about that in advance, I'm going to lose them. I want my reader to do this. Yeah, you know me. I want that. Give it to me. How much? I don't care.
That's so important, because one of the biggest issues most entrepreneurs have, whether they're as a professional copywriter, whether they have a brick and mortar business, whatever it may be, is how do you write something that somebody will buy what you want to sell? Great
question. And that is the key to success in this industry. That is it. And the way the way I've done it, and I've been successful about it, is you're going to write about something that people care about. Write to your, know who you're talking to, and talk to that one person like you're having a conversation with that person. You're not writing, you are talking. It just happens to be in print. So I'm going to say, hey, Laura, did you wake up this morning in a cold sweat again? Did you get any sleep at all last night? Are you feeling like this is driving you crazy? Is your mind kind of like going, I thought I did this. I can't remember if I turned off the oven. I can't remember. Are you feeling me, Laura? Are you feeling like that?
Because I feel you. 1,000%.
Okay. So I'm writing this. I'm not talking, but I'm writing. So I'm saying to you, if that's how you feel, well, you know what? Let me tell you, you're not alone, because X millions of women are going through what you're going through right now. And many of them have discovered a secret that has helped them to not only feel better, they look better, they're losing weight, they're thinking sharper, their sex drive has come back. I mean, it's just amazing. Laura, wouldn't you want to know about this too? Because if you do, come with me. Let me tell you about, and then I start introducing you to, that's all I'm doing. So I'm talking to you and appealing to what you need right now. When I write to my market, I treat them like a spoiled child. I give them whatever they want. What do you want? You want to look younger? I can help you. You want to be thinner? I can help you. You want to be smarter? I can help you. What do you want? What do you want? So know what your market wants, and then find a way to give it to them. Give it to them. Your product should be the solution, to what they want. So you have to know what you're doing, who you're talking to, what can the product offer, and then now all you have to do is bridge the gap to say, here's how you come try this. And guess what? You don't have to worry about it. If you're not 100% satisfied with your results, you pay nothing. So, hey, you got nothing to lose. Try it. Take as long as you need. No rush, no 30-day, 60-day, 90-day guarantee. Just take as long as you need for you to be convinced that this X product works for you. And I'm telling you, when you use it, and you see how good you feel, when you see how the weight's falling off, you see how you can remember like never before, and you see how you are just jumping your husband's bones all the time, you are never going to want to be without this product again. I'm just saying. So you might want to go ahead and stock up and get the 6 months supply while you're getting at the best price, because again, you got nothing to lose. If you don't like it, send it back. You get all your money back. Is that fair? I mean, that's my conversation with my readers.
I suggest that everybody play back the recording and pause throughout that entire section, because you can just plug in.
Oh yeah, I just gave you my
for your own product.
The least you can do is buy the book now after I've just given you a whole sales.
Well, that's the beauty, because you lay this all out inside.
Yeah, I do. Well. I absolutely do. And also in the book, I give away $950 worth of my sales promotion. So if you're interested in seeing the kind of stuff that I write, and these are things that have worked and made millions of dollars for my clients, in the book, I actually, you can use a scan button. You can go in there and you can scan and activate it, and you can get $950 worth of my sales promos for free. So obviously, I'm not selling the book to make a lot of money.
Well, unless you're a certain person, a certain level writer, like Barack Obama just is releasing his new book. Michelle Obama's book came out. You've got all the latest Trump books. You've got J.K. Rowling. You've got Stephen King. These people make money off of their books. Not every writer gets that, especially in a lot of the nonfiction realms. It's about the other products. So it's writing sales copy for your book to do the other pieces of it. And I thought this was interesting, and I don't know if you've looked at this yet around your book, but there's something called popular highlights. Have you ever heard of the popular highlights? So these are the areas that people are highlighting the most throughout.
Oh, really? Yes.
I
did not. Look, let me see. I did not know that. I did not know that.
And there's many here. This one's on chapter 4, The Power of Story. This is one of the most important things I can teach anybody about copywriting. Tap into the power of story. If you're not telling a story in your sales copy, find a good one and write about it. Then there's another one, how my 4 kids taught me valuable lessons in copywriting. And I'm going to tell everybody out there right now, buy the book just for this section. Because Carline just alluded to it. And I took so many notes, Carline, when I was reading that section. And you alluded to it today a bit. We briefly discussed it. How personalities of those around you can help you write copy. And it says, so make sure to use reason why copy to satisfy your skeptical market. Here's an approach Clayton Makepeace taught me, and I still use it often today. Towards the close of the sale, I give my prospects a bunch of reasons why they need to say yes. It's something that I feel a lot of people, when they're trying to explain their services, explain their products, they tend to focus on why you should say no versus why you should say yes. So why is that so important?
Well, I find that people they're afraid to even ask for the sale. That's the problem I find with most writers. It's like they craft this amazing story. It's wonderful. You got the reader salivating, and then it's like, okay, now go close it, close the deal. And so instead of closing it, and again, the goal is to write it so that you're doing this, you're bringing him to the close, right? It's like you're landing a plane. You can't go out and land a plane. You got to bring it in. I find a lot of readers, especially young writers, they get afraid to do that. And so they just sort of start backpedaling, and bringing up new thoughts that weren't even in the whole letter. And they're bringing it up now. Now you're just confusing your reader. So the reason why copy helps, because I'm like, now go back and just bam, hit him. You got to get this because you want to do this. You want to do this. You're looking for this. You want that. And I want to be saying yes the whole time. That's what I want. Well, if that's what you want, here's the solution. Buy this product. That's your solution. I've said to you, if this is what you want, and you're saying, yes, I do want these are the reasons why I'm doing this. Well, then, it's a no-brainer. Just get the product and you're good. So that is the key to it. To bring it in, like you're bringing that plane in, not to just start going, well, maybe, here's another thought I could bring up at this point. No, if you haven't brought it up already, don't bring it up anymore. Don't bring anything new to the mix. Just keep emphasizing what you've been saying all along as to why they want to get it. Keep banging in there, bang it. And then take them by the hand and say, pick up that phone and dial 1-800 or click
right, make
here.
It easy for them to say yes.
So easy. Again, you have nothing to lose. The guarantee takes away a lot of pressure. You have to worry. If you think you made a wrong decision, it's okay. You can just, just send it back. It's fine. No problem. No ands, ifs, or buts about it. You're good. You're probably, but try. But I promise you, if you try it and you like it, oh my goodness, then you have just opened up a whole new world that you had never thought about before. But you got to give it a try. So that's why I said, just give it a try. Just try it. No commitments. Just try it.
I love
you
that.
Like it.
I so love it. We're getting close on time, and I could talk to you
stay,
for
but
hours.
you have to go.
There are so many more questions I can ask you around failure, about setting your pricing, about mentoring other people as well. And you cover so much of that in your book, and I would love to ask you many, many more questions, but we just don't have the time on today's show to do that. But there is something that I really do want to ask you, because I think this is important for all of us, and I think it can also help out in the world today. How do you morph into a 50-year-old lady?
Well, let me tell you a story of a Clayton Makepeace. This is one of my favorite Clayton Makepeace stories because it was the first time I had a chance to write a sales promotion. I never had, no one was giving me a chance. And then finally I had a chance to write one because the client found out that the majority of a large part of his market were African American males. And he thought that he needed to have a Black male copywriter. And so the list broker who was helping him with that knew me. He couldn't find a Black male copywriter. So he goes, well, Carline, you're half Black. Can you help me out with this? And I'm like, of course, sure I can. Of course, whatever. So I just talked my way into this job. So I wrote the copy and I asked Clayton if he would please give me some crits on it, right? And so he said, sure. So he read it, and his only crit to my copy was, you write like an effing girl. I'm like, my reply was, I am a girl. And he's like, but your market isn't. And that's your critical mistake. He says, you need to know who your market. You don't have to be your market. You just have to know your market. And that was probably some of the most priceless advice I got early in my career that has helped me all along. So to write like a 50-plus-year-old white male is no different than writing to a 25-year-old Black female, 42-year-old Asian male. It doesn't matter. It's know who you're talking to. Know what they want. Know what they need. And then talk to him one-on-one. Talk about what he got up this morning worried about. And now I'm going to say, hey, I feel you. I know who you are. And let me tell you how I can help you. So that is it. I just happened to stumble into a 50-plus-year-old white male market, which I'm glad now that has expanded to include Blacks and Hispanics and females also, which is wonderful. But it definitely started off that way. And that was the core of my writing. But it really just goes down to always know who you're talking to and create a relationship so you can give that person what he or she desires. And that's the secret for you to be able to be successful in writing sales copy.
I think in anything in life, isn't it?
In life, absolutely. Know who you're talking. Like my children, I can talk about my kids. I have 4 kids, 4 completely different personalities. I could not parent each of them the same way. It's impossible. Because the one child, if I punished her by saying, go to your room, that might be like the best thing she could ever get. That could be like a reward because she doesn't want to be around anybody else.
Okay.
But the other ones who I say, no, you're going to stay right here. We're going to all watch you as you do this. That could be like the worst thing ever because, just the personality you're dealing with. So they say to me, Mom, that's not fair. I'm like, you're right. I'm not fair. Because I can't treat you the same because you're not the same. So I'm going to find out what your pressure points are. And I'm going to hit them when I need to so I can get your act together. So it's the same thing. Know who you're talking to.
That's perfect. Carline, how do people get a copy of your book, get more information about your work, and stay in contact with you? I know you have a email list as well.
I do. I have on my website, CarlineCole.com. You can sign up for my Copy Star e-zine. It's free. I give you lots of great tips on there. So you can definitely go there. If you want to get a copy of my book, if you live in the Atlanta area, I would encourage you to go to Barnes & Nobles in Snellville, Georgia, because they allowed me to put my book in the store. Now, it's self-published. Unknown author getting into a Barnes & Noble is no easy feat.
That's awesome.
He allowed me, Patrick Foster's the manager. He said, I'm going to give it a shot. And so I've got some signed copies there at the Snellville location. If you live in Georgia and you're going to go out anyway, don't go out just to get it because I believe in sheltering in place. But if you're going to be out anyway, just stop by, pick up that signed copy.
They do curbside.
They could do it. You can call them up and they'll do it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you can do that. But I'm saying I have a limited supply of the signed copies only in the Snellville, Georgia location. If not, Amazon, my website, you can get my book through my website, Barnes & Noble, Kobo. I'm coming out in Audible. I want this out. I'm coming out with German translation next year. So I just think it's a book that it's not just a marketing book. It really is my life experience that I think can help a lot of people. I'm a Haitian immigrant. I talk about coming from Haiti at the age of 6 years old. I'm a stay-at-home mom. I'm a woman, mixed race, Black woman. I cover it all. I cover all of it. And I talk about how those things have helped me in my career and the lessons that I've learned to really help other people to say, hey, you could do this. I told you a story about my friend who told me how she got a 132% raise after she read a chapter of my book and just said, what would Carline do here? And she's like, I'm just going to do it. And she did it. And she got the money she was looking for. And she got the job she was looking for. And she's like, I would have chickened out before this book. So I'm like, hey, it's worth the $10 on Kindle or $20 paperback. It will make a difference for you. It will really help you. And I really believe that. That's why I want to share it.
I think the book is wonderful. I've said that several times throughout, and the book is, I prefer showing the paper copy, but this is what I have, everybody. My life is a 50-plus-year-old white male. Oh, great. Good.
I have a paper copy there. I wrote that here. Here's a paper copy.
Hold that one up. Okay, so my life, hold it still.
Oh, sorry. I have revision on here because I'm making revision.
My life is a 50-plus-year-old white male. And I love it because Carline really lives her book in here. And Carline, your website is carlinecole.com.
Yep.
And then for anybody that buys the book, at the end of the book, there is a link that you can go to get some wonderful copy swipes.
It's actually a barcode in there that gets activated. And can I give let me give a special gift to your readers.
That would be awesome.
All right. So if you are readers, viewers, I keep saying readers, I'm a writer, but if you send me an email at carlinecole.com after you purchase the book, send me an email and said Laura Stewart sent me. On the subject line, I will send you a free gift. It's a cheat sheet, and it's called 77 Sizzling Power Words to Crank Up Your Copy. So it works for anybody who's writing sales copy. I'll give you 77 words I think are like the best words to use ever in writing. So you can get that, and you send it to me at carlinecole.com. But say, Laura Stewart sent me, so that I know that you came from Laura. I will send you that. It's a $39 gift. You're going to get it for free. After you buy the book, send a proof of purchase with it, and you'll get it.
And is it Carline at carlinecole.com?
You can do Carline at carlinecole.com. Correct.
Okay, great.
And that is
and up at the website, there's lots of, thank you for doing that. That's really awesome.
This is fun. This was cool. I hope it can help.
I'm so glad you came on the show today. When I read the book and when I was watching the stuff that you had done with Marcella, I said, there's more to this than just being for copywriters. This book is about feeling confident in yourself, growing confident in yourself, learning to take risks, all of that stuff. And it applies to every industry. If you're a copywriter, you definitely have to get this book. But even if you're not, there's so much in here that I think really is important for the world to read. So thank you for writing it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. You have been awesome. And I said, we met through Marcella, and instantly you've become a great mentor to help me with the whole book world. I mean, you've given me some great ideas of what to do with the book, and I would never have known about that, or I would probably find out much later. So I appreciate your generosity and sharing with me. That is it kind of shows who you are as a person. And I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Well, thank you. It's my pleasure, my honor to be able to help anybody, really, and to be able to help you get your book out there is wonderful. So thank you very much. And everybody who's been listening, and you've probably been seeing me flip my hair up like crazy because I can't stand my hair anymore. Getting it cut tomorrow, though. Thank you. Finally. I feel like Chewbacca. I've got so much hair on my head. I feel like Chewbacca. But the whole goal of the show is to help you shift your perspectives, to think about things in a different way. I love introducing amazing women like Carline here and their books and their thoughts, the way they think, the questions that they ask. Carline, I keep thinking about your one question, is it really a mistake? So I'd like everybody to start thinking today, as I'm ending this episode, think about something in your life that you always thought of as maybe was a mistake. Is it really a mistake in your life? Because I'm sure that as you start thinking about it, it probably isn't. And then for those of you trying to grow your businesses, think about the ideas that Carline shared with us about how you can write an email out to your prospects. When you've got a prospect in front of you, how you can change the way you're interacting, knowing what they want, knowing who they are. Because remember, it's not about you in the sale. It's about how you're going to improve the lives of the person that's going to be using your services, your products, your solutions. Carline gave us some great examples of how to do that. And I love, love, love that. And at the end of the day, the right questions can change your life. So what are you asking today? Have a great day, everyone.
You've been listening to It's All About the Questions, starring Laura Stewart. Connect with Laura at it'sallaboutthequestions.com and download a free workbook that will help you ask better questions starting today.